It's a weird time, really. Really weird time. Not a bad time. It's a really a bit of a problem when it really kind of spaces you out when you like say something onto camera and then repeat it and keep repeating it and stuff again. It's yeah. So it's been a really crazy time. It's been a really weird time. Not a bad time. It feels like there's two journeys going on at once. You know, the left-hand side and the right-hand side of me. You know, one side is kind of looking out at the world and the things that it can do for the world, and the other side is looking at things that I can do for myself in regards to me and everybody else as an individual. You know what I mean? So like I'm the only person I can analyse. I'm the only person I can look inside. I'd love to be able to like look inside other people. I feel to a certain degree it's kind of possible, but obviously I'm my examination specimen, if you like. So anything that works for me, if I think to myself, okay, is that transferable to other people? So there's that question of mutual individuality, mutual self. So looking out into the world, I'm thinking to myself, I'm seeing all these trees at the moment. I see the sun setting. We all see that one sun. I see it from a different perspective than you. I see the world from a different perspective to you, but it's consistent. These trees are trees. You can see beech trees, ash and stuff, and so there's a consistency within the nature, within the realm that we all dwell in. We all have the same senses, really. So there's two worlds inside out. There's the outside one that I see on the inside. I perceive the world, I perceive language, I understand some languages and not others. I see colours and smell things, and we all have a similar kind of taste. Even though we're largely unique on the whole, each one of us is very different by the sum total of all the small differences. But there's a mutual ground there. There's a similarity between us all. You know, we all need to eat and drink and sleep. These things, obvious, yeah. And so you perceive the world the same as I, with your own senses. When you sleep at night and become unconscious of that world, it disappears for a while. It's too easy to look out at the world and think it's an exterior affair. And of course, most of its control, most of its influence is an exterior influence in that way. You know, we can talk about spiritual practices of manifesting energy on the external world and all of that stuff, but generally, you know, because there's so many different people, so many different individuums and animals too, all with souls, you know, we're all beings, entities, walking along, and we all have that control. So obviously if we was in 1,000 people, then you would only have 1,000th of that control in that realm. So it would seem that you didn't have any, maybe. But influence we have influence. So If you walk into a room with 999 people, then suddenly that number of people becomes an even amount. That surely would have a ripple effect with the conversations and constellations of groupings within that mass of people. So the influence of one is as big as you are clever. Of course, you can influence yourself. You can change the way you feel. You can change your moods. You can change the way you see the world by changing your mood. Almost like the colours become brighter and sounds become softer if you're happy, you know. And it can be a very superficial kind of thing, but if you can return to a place inside of yourself that's neutral and balanced and say, okay, it is what it is for now. If I'm losing balance, that's no good, so I find that place of peace within me. And so the world on the inside will change depending on how you perceive it. And so you can change your own mood, influence your own behaviour, but also the world outside, the exterior world, can influence and affect your inner world. Something can happen on the outside that makes you angry. You maybe see something or dislike a pattern or a picture, makes you feel upset or confused. These types of feelings, these types of perceptions, they can control you. The world outside can control your inner world, and your inner world can control your outer world. So there is the clue. Just simply by observing the world like a hawk, observing everything around without a sinister, evil eye, just a neutral, silent, observing aspect. And to not dwell on memories or afterthink anything, just to simply take note of everything. As it comes, let it go. Next thing comes, let it go. Take note. Take note of the senses, of how it looks, how bright it is, how it smells, how it sounds, what texture would it be? How does it make you feel in that moment? These can all be simply observed, not remembered, not analysed, just observed. Just as possible to observe the way you feel as during an experience as it is to observe the visual aspect. To observe the room outside, your thoughts, and your own existence in the time now. To just observe other people and to see what influence they have on you. To see what words trigger what feelings in you. And that way you can then reverse that and either avoid those words or select those words intentionally. We can observe with intent. We can intend observation. You can choose in every moment where you focus your attention. And if you don't focus it for too long on that thing, then you can re-choose each moment where you focus your attention. So your point of view is yours, and that's how you see the world, every moment new. And knowing that, you know that I see the world in a similar way. And so sometimes it's more about learning to listen to the world neutrally, rather than to expect the world to become more neutral. Instead of stopping people from saying certain words or swearing or something, it's sometimes better to accept that, if it's only words. To understand what real danger is, what real harm is, and not to confuse it with just manners, political correctness. You know, our behaviour, our gestures, everything that we communicate, everything that we perceive is transmitted. And even subliminally with the body language and the eyes and everything that we see in each other, the rapport that we get with each other. It's all happening subliminally. And it is possible to watch a lot of those processes happening. And at the same time, to be able to forgive ourselves for missing something, for making small mistakes, noting them mistakes. Because it's not, life is not about aiming for perfection. It's about aiming for perception. Yeah, it's not about perfection. It's more about just everybody being happy, having enough to eat, having enough to drink, and being warm and dry, having people to talk to. Little inspiration. And sometimes we have to change our own perceptions, kind of force ourselves to see things in a better way, so that we can make something of our environment, because sometimes the environment, the people in that environment, are just not able to change things. They just don't have the knowledge or the cunning or the energy to affect the situation. And sometimes, instead of actually trying to control a situation, it's much better to just to let it flow and try and guide that flow somewhere else. Anyway, yeah, I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope you have a good time. Perceive the world. Cheerio.